It is almost Michigan Wolverine o'clock, baby. You look at it, not normally a Michigan State fan, but I was definitely rooting for him in that Peach Bowl. Michigan State handled their part of the deal. Now it's time for Michigan to handle their part of the deal. We got to get this done. Look, here in this region, in this part of the country, we need something good. We've had we've had the worst luck of all our sports teams. We're probably the only major city that last year had every last one of our major sports teams finish dead last. Michigan, we need this, baby.
You're missing the forest for the trees. That's called consistency. We
But you
always
know what?
talk about consistency.
I'm also afraid, too. I'm afraid because I'm selfish. Because I almost don't want Aiden Hutchinson to have a good job. I want him to fall off just in case we don't get that #1 pick because he's not good. For one, he wants to be here. That's something we don't normally have with somebody that wants to be here. He's the type of guy that can change the culture. And the way my luck goes, the Lions probably going to win the rest of these freaking games.
Well, wait, how many games are left? I thought this was
They got
over.
two. They got two games left.
Gerald, I only have a couple minutes because let me explain. When the sun goes down on this Jew, electronics go off. Now, I have a few minutes, and I have a slight dispensation because I need to pick up a script, and it's not ready yet. But I have a couple things I got to tell you. First of all, I've been having an emotionally difficult day with New Year's because for me, New Year's is not about drinking. It's not about going out. A good New Year's Day when in my life meant that my team had a football game to play on New Year's Day, and it was in Pasadena. That's how I was raised. And,
Rose Bowl, baby.
And I'm wearing now the last Rose Bowl I was at in 2007. I took my little girls. They dressed up as cheerleaders. It was incredible. And they lost, I think. I have to look it up. I think it was Texas, but a story for another time. But I've been to many Rose Bowl parades, but only one actual game in the stadium because I have connections with the parade. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so I've been to many Rose Bowl parades when it's Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State just as a kid, but regardless. In terms of Michigan State playing today, I honestly didn't even know because I forget that Michigan State has a football team.
No, they played last night.
Oh, well, whatever. You know, listen, I don't like affiliating with those people, but it was difficult because my brother ended up going there for med school and then sent my kids all these clothes. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm supposed to put my kids in this? But my brother went there. He's alumni. God bless. House Divided is what I bought him a House Divided poster, which is awesome. But here's the thing. So I'm not supposed to be upset that we're not playing New Year's Day. I have to get over that. I'm not supposed to be upset that we're not playing Pasadena because now it's better.
It's bigger than Pasadena.
But the fact is we would have rather this game than a Rose Bowl bid this year, right?
Well, you know what? It's like it's tradition. We always hate when people change tradition.
We're not going to the BCS championship because I know that tonight's given. But I can't watch the game live because of Shabbos and all that. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what I can do. I can watch next week's game because that's Monday night, right?
There you go.
And so that's what I'm planning for. Now, I live at 31 on my street. Now I have to go by my face. I live at 31 on my street. Number 19 has a flag, Michigan flag up on this thing. And I always talk to him. And I stop by now. He's leaving his door open so I can walk over to find out the scores. And he's just a super guy. We were talking about Bo and, all the famous everything. And it's just fun to have a Michigan flag on the street in New Jersey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'll let you go back to analysis of the Lions. That's all I had to say. But I'm excited.
Well,
and,
I look at it like this. I've had so many people call me and ask me, what do I think about They got a great defense. There's nothing I'm afraid of on that offense.
But you don't get to the playoffs without a great offense and defense. That's okay.
No, you got to look at it like this. Then I ask you another question. nobody can tell me a signature win that Georgia got this year. Sometimes you get undefeated by playing a bunch of teams that just, they don't have no signature win. And that's what I'm saying for a lot of people out there. Even Cincinnati got a signature win. They beat Notre Dame. That's a huge signature win. So sometimes that's what it is. You gotta, it's what's sexy about Georgia? Nothing. I will be here, Ari. There's nothing sexy about Georgia. But they didn't get here on no fluke. So I'm expecting a good game. And I'm expecting to see the Michigan Wolverines play for a national title. That's the expectations. Anything less than that is a letdown. You know, you can only get but so close so many times. Even as a Lions fan, to where my team have been perennial serial losers, still the expectation anytime they play is from the win. I'm not one of those people that say, well, I just wanted to make the playoffs. Screw that. I don't want that. I want to win everything. I'm also not delusional. I know that that's not always the issue. I mean, they're not always going to be able to get there. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can. There you go. This will get you back. Yeah.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Expectation is a national championship, nothing less.
Go hard or go home. What's the point?
That's it. That's it.
I mean,
I will be one of those coaches that don't even want to accept the second place trophy. Y'all can keep that.
those who stay will be champions.
That's it.
Now, for those that don't understand what that means, let's explain it.
They gotta understand when that coach come there, he promised you when you stay. That's, you know what, and that, I'm gonna tell you something right now. It's so much more difficult to coach than back then. Because I've seen something that Harbaugh had to do, he probably didn't want to do. He had to let that other quarterback get in some games, or this guy would have got into the transfer portal. That makes it so much harder to coach. You have.
But you know what Harbaugh also did?
Yeah.
Harbaugh took the entire team to Bo's grave.
There you
Pay
go.
their respects. And Bo Schembechler said in his first year, and it was on the wall, as you know, what's the quote? I don't want to mess it up. Is that only, champions. Now I'm blanking out. I just said it 2 seconds ago.
Hey, look, hold on. Before we say anything, we got to stop and we got to do something very important. We got to do something I never wanted to say. We got to give a moment of silence for Betty White.
For Ben White?
Yeah, didn't make it to 100. She passed today.
Yeah, I saw that. And the question is, though, well, let's do that first. Yeah, absolutely right. And she's on the cover of People magazine this week, too.
They were planning on doing this huge 100 birthday extravaganza. That's planning all this for 100th birthday. And she fell 17 days short.
Is that it? 17 days?
Yep. 17 days to her 100th birthday.
She is an amazing woman and very funny and just a pisser. I mean, it's the generation that doesn't exist anymore, you know? My grandfather was 96. Like, they're just, I'm with you.
I'm going to tell you, just these last couple of weeks, just going, because as soon as I leave the office, I'm going to my grandmother's house. But just sitting there, these conversations that I'm having with her is like magic. You know, we sitting there talking about how she was a kid, they had to use the outhouse, or they had to go to a well. And me not even being able to, I can't even fathom that in my mind. I'm like, an outhouse? You trying to tell me I went and shit in a hole in the ground? And she's like, hey.
No, that's not what an outhouse is. That you're thinking of a bidet. You're getting confused. Listen, my grandfather, my great-grandfather died at 90 years old in Minnesota because his job was a night watchman outside in the winter in Minnesota before the invention of penicillin. And he got sick, got pneumonia because Minnesota is cold, and I mean, can you imagine like this 90-year-old walking on where outside thing? And I just can't even fathom it.
That's why when you look at when you even think when you said your grandfather's 97, when you
no,
even
he
look to
died.
think
He died
about
when he was 96.
how life has changed, the things he's seen in those 97 years.
Yep.
I had told
I
you
think about it
before,
all the time.
I
If I
had
would have
an
told
idea for a book I
his
wanted to
father,
write. I had an idea for a book I wanted to write, and it was going to kind of be like a science fiction book, but it was bringing my grandfather back and him living in this world now with this political correctness, this Me Too, we paying for water, we got to pay to watch TV, and this world just being too much for him, and he just want to go back and rest. He can't survive in this world. He can't survive with, worrying about everything that he's saying. And I'm sitting here trying to get with somebody to help me write that, but that's something that I want to write.
One second, I need to explain something so you don't think wrong of me. But where I live, it's illegal to do self-service gas.
Oh, trust me. I remember going to Philadelphia, and they did not. I think it was against the law to pump your own gas.
It is. It's illegal in New Jersey right now. So I'm about to get full service. I don't want you to think I'm so. My daughters don't know how to pump gas. Can you imagine?
Well, you got to remember, I was a consultant, and I traveled all over, and that blew my mind when I got to Philadelphia, and you could not pump your own gas.
I believe there's only 2 states. I think it might be Oregon, or Wyoming, something like that, and New Jersey.
No, Philadelphia too. Pennsylvania is like that because you couldn't do it in Philadelphia.
No, I think they've all come over. I last heard there are 2 places left, and New Jersey, I don't think they'll ever give it up. And
I don't think we even have full service gas stations here no more.
Right. And you know what? It's fine with me because it gets cold and shitty out. I'm okay. But anyway, I was gonna say when you said the moment of silence, I thought you were gonna say for Bo. And you know what? I'm so
Bo was my guy, man. Bo made me like football. Coming up when I remember, like, it's certain names that stick with me as far as Michigan. Bo was one. And then there was a player on the basketball team that it might not even been a great player, but something about him. I used to love Eric Turner, point guard, played for the Wolverines. It was just something about this guy, his character.
I was all over the Fab Five.
Eric Turner is way before the Fab Five.
Yeah. Well, I think you're a little older than me. I don't know how old you are. All right, so I'm gonna be 50 soon, so we're right there.
Yeah.
But listen, the thing is about Bo, for me growing up, as I'm sure you'll understand, then other people won't. I only know about sports because every morning I would trudge through the snow to get my free press and read what Mitch Albom had to tell me.
Yep.
And I learned sports from Mitch Albom. And people that know him as a best-selling author don't understand how our relationship is with him. And he wrote, as you know, Bo's autobiography with Bo. And his 20, please. I just paid, getting full serve. Thank you. I'm sorry? 20. Regular, yes. Thank you.
I'm trying to remember that last book that he had that I read. Is it the 3 people you talk to when you get to heaven?
Yep.
That book was awesome.
So again, I mean, like, we know him we know him from his column.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, this is new. And it was so funny.
And there's no internet. That's how we found out what happened.
We were out in West Bloomfield. And then, you're out there for a long time and you don't even, out there, people didn't get time to know their neighbors. And one day it was like they had a valet service and all these cars across the street. Come to find out, Mitch Albom stayed across the street and he was having a party.
Dude, my dad lived at right off Maple.
Yeah, this was Rolling Ridge was the street. It was right on Rolling Ridge, right off.
My dad lived right by Orchard Lake and Maple in West Bloomfield. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But here's what I want to say.
We were on the wood side, and he was on the side of the street he was on. You had the water in your backyard. The side of the street we were on, we had the woods in our backyard.
So I recently read Mitch's obituary for Bo, and I cried, and Mitch cried in writing it because he was as close as anyone on earth to Bo, other than his wife, and he was close to his wife also. But then I also read Mitch's piece after the controversies, And Mitch is crying in that piece too, because he says, as Mitch only can, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. This is messing my reality. Thank you.
Well, see, me, I felt the same way about that controversy as I felt about the paternal controversy. I don't like when folks are not around to defend themselves. If you always knew, let them defend themselves before you bury them. Once they're gone, it's over.
Yes, but remember, Bo's not being accused of anything other than
Turn the blind eye.
Right. And so, the accusers aren't really, they didn't initially come out, well, except for his son, but that's a strange thing. Also, that's a different strange type thing anyways. But my point is this. My whole life, my foundation is I read Mitch and Mitch explains to me what's going on in Detroit sports.
And see, the son thing is so weird to me. To say that you was afraid to say something. Your father was the most powerful man in the state. I don't understand you being afraid to say anything. When I'm talking about more powerful than the governor, more powerful than anybody in this state at the time, I don't understand him being afraid. But I'm not going to assume to know his state of mind and speak for him. I really don't like when they go after people after they're gone. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I do agree, but given the reality of just the facts, it's hard to fathom that at the very least Bo didn't know, or something, or whatever it is, however minor it is. But here's my point: it leaves me in the quandary of how to think about the reality of Bo, and Mitch puts it in his piece, like just like I think about it. Mitch says the same exact thing. I don't know how to think about it because he knew Bo. Him and Bo had hamburgers together, and he wrote Bo's autobiography. He knows his wife. He knows his family. He's been in their home 100 times. And Mitch. That's why Mitch is so special, because he says it like we think it. And like they may take that statue down.
We in those eras that it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. Now you're going to make me get off on a whole other tangent. Because anytime, and I'm only going to go in for a quick second, I'm going to stop. But anytime somebody talking about taking statues down or anything, it pisses me off that in every major city in this country, there is a building with J. Edgar Hoover's name on it. He was the biggest racist on the face of the earth. So and I'm like, every single FBI building got this dude's name on it. So, like I said, I hate to even get into those conversations about taking statues down. You can't erase history. What happened, happened. So I don't want to forget. I want to educate.
Yep. I mean, and you know what? I don't want to start a thing, but no, but not with you. I'm just saying in general.
No, I know. Because like you said,
it's not a defense, but
what it is people don't. Sometimes you got to be careful when you say things in these type of forums, because when people don't know you, they take certain things out of context. What you say.
Let me use this example. You remember Dan Rostenkowski in Congress?
Yep.
The Ways and Means chairman for 100 years, one of the most powerful men in Congress. He went to jail. And why did he go to, and Clinton pardoned him, so he didn't do a full sentence. Do you know what he told, what he said is the reason he went to jail, Clinton, when he pardoned him? Because he gave a constituent a rocking chair. And Clinton pardoned him off of that. But he did time. He was there, I think, a year and a half in jail. Rosti for giving a guy a thing. And what happened? Times changed, and Rosti didn't. And didn't know that he had to. He didn't intentionally not change. He just didn't know. Giving a rocking chair and tip stay was what you did. And he didn't do fraud. He didn't steal. He didn't embezzle. But he went to jail over a rocking chair. And it's scary because, I don't want to trip a wire. I don't want to go to jail for ignorance. But it's just part of the world we live in today, I guess.
Yeah, it's like now these sound bites and everything that's going on, we have to be careful. And I'm just glad that there weren't cameras around when I made mistakes when I was in college or when I made mistakes when I was in high school, because now, the way social media is now, you are the worst thing you've ever done in your life. That's what you are.
Well,
You got to look at it like this. I said this
don't
before.
Google search me, Gerald.
But you got to look at it like this. If Maya Angelou would have died at 19, she would have died a prostitute. And nobody ever let her forget that that's what she was. By social media stuff not being around, and by her writing about it herself. Because the thing that you do is, once you accept the worst thing you ever done and accept your truth, nobody can use it against you.
Yeah, well, maybe. I wondered what popped in my head when you were saying that. I wonder what the world would think of Dennis Rodman if the internet had been back then. Just as an example, him showing up after his dad died with a handgun at practice, for example. You know, I'm not talking about the bullshit now.
Yeah, like, you talk about like him asleep in the parking lot in a pickup truck with a shotgun by him and shit like that. Like you said, shit that only us in Michigan knew about.
He wasn't aggressive. He was in deep grief and depression.
He was more of a danger to himself than anybody else.
He was sick from the death of his father. I mean, you know, but like again, you know, gosh, makes you think. Or Chris Webber, timeout. You know, just things like that. Would he have had a career like he did? You know, regardless. You know, he got his mulligan, right? Would he get his mulligan today? I don't know.
But you know what he did? He owned it. He named his foundation Timeout. If you try to act like you're afraid of it, they're going to ram it down your throat. You have to own what you did to take the sting out of it. You know what I'm saying?
You know, the girls in my high school at SL, they used to hot tub with Adam Oates. Because he would go jogging down the street on 12 Mile. Mm-hmm. That's where he jogged. He lived right over there in the condos. And they would intentionally go jogging because he was hot stuff. You know, he wasn't a good player by us. He only got good when he left Detroit.
There you go.
But they didn't care, you know, and oh gosh, times have changed. Listen, I want to say one thing. My favorite story, I don't think I told you lately. I went to Jacques Demir's summer camp.
Jacques Demir.
I went to a summer camp. It's 2 weeks at the Civic Center, and he'd bring a wing every day, and we get to do boot camp and play with a wing. And the day Joey Koser came to play, and I was the fat kid playing on the shitty team, so I was the biggest guy there because I was horrible. And the day Joey was there, I got to be the guy to do the demo, one-on-one, me and Joey Koser. And I did what only a guy with like balls and attitude could do. Instead of going one-on-one, I literally ignored the puck, dropped my gloves, and dove at him.
Let's get it.
16 years old. Joey didn't have skin on his fingers. He had infected hands, so I figured I had a chance. And it was like the greatest memory I ever had, you know?
And nobody can ever take that away from you.
No. Listen, I got to go. It's the Sabbath starting right now. But hail to the victors, and champions will be made today because we will do this again next Monday.
Because it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine, baby.
And have a Verner's float for me because I forgot to order mine.
That's called a Boston Cooler with the Verners, actually. I just went and bought a case of root beer and Verners. I'm going to go to my grandma's house. That's she's going to have. I found the dairy-free ice cream, not just for me, but I could see she was getting gassy, burping a lot.
Detroit thing? Is the float thing a Detroit thing? I know what Verner's float is, but my mother made us have root beer or Verner's floats every year. A Detroit.
Well, the Verners can't be because it's called a Boston Cooler. So that had to be Boston had to invent that because it's.
Right, but I'm saying the New Year's part. I mean, New Year's having a float. Is that a Detroit thing?
Now, you know what? For me, I don't think it's a Detroit thing. What it is for me is I've been asking my grandmother things she haven't had in a long time to make sure she can have whatever she wants.
Oh, get her a loose coney dog.
You know, she's never been a coney. So she was happy the other day with me just getting her some onion rings. She hadn't had onion rings in a long time.
Creamsicle.
Yeah, she had one of those. So that every day when we had those conversations, I try to ask her things that she haven't had in a while, and I go get it. Like her husband of 40 years was allergic to seafood. So I bought her a pound of shrimp the other day she probably hadn't had shrimp in 40 years. So I bought her a pound of shrimp, and you would have think I gave her a bag of gold. She loved it.
We'll get her a good kosher pastrami sandwich. Go to Oak Park and get her a Sarah's Deli sandwich in Oak Park.
That's still there too, by the way. You know that, right?
Absolutely, 10 Mile and Greenfield, right there.
There you go, and I'm right up the street from that.
They have 4-decker sandwiches. I don't remember if it's number 2 or number 10, a Dinty Moore or something like that. I know them. The original guy was Goodman. I went to school with his daughter in Akiva. And I have to go, or God will not forgive me and punish the Wolverine. So
enjoy the Sabbath, my brother.
I will talk to you an hour after sunrise. I will talk to you in 25 hours.
Peace, enjoy. We'll be talking about a victory when we talk.
Thank you.
All right, be blessed. All right.